Bitcoin is holding strong, but I want to highlight a few things I didn't highlight in the last videos, and this will give us a much better understanding of what we can do now, what we can do right now to prepare ourselves for the next Bitcoin move. And that is the most important thing, right? Is prepping for the next stage. And we're not going to focus on at all of this news. We have a ton of overwhelming amount of news with large numbers being thrown out there, just creating a lot of hype to back up all this, aggressive rallies that we've been seeing lately in Bitcoin. And we're not going to focus on any of that because we know that we always get positive news when Bitcoin goes up, negative news when it comes down. It's just something that's not it's something that doesn't matter too much, and instead we need to focus on truly the structures and how healthy they are and what is the most probable next move that Bitcoin can have. And now I want to give you guys a few reasons on why this is very overextended. It's not just because it's over this next fib extension area that was ideally supposed to act as resistance, but instead it's holding above it just a little bit. We're not going to focus on that too much because even if we were to use, let's say instead of just creating smaller extension areas based on the start of this uptrend, we can do something like this where we can max it out to like the top of these waves. It doesn't matter what wave count they are. As you can see, it's over that area. If we even stretch it out a bit more and we try to focus on like the next move up with the one here, it doesn't matter. It's all very much overextended. We can't make a proper healthy fib extension area based off of this move right here, because at that point, if we start to create any like starting from here to here to here, it doesn't matter. It's unrealistic, and I don't want to be unrealistic, especially with such a volatile asset. I want to be as realistic as possible. So that's why I'm not throwing you guys any new fib extension areas. Instead, I'm focusing purely on the overall next move higher, which is well into the 100Ks, 130, 140K, even stretches all the way up to 150K. So this is the overall move higher. And how can we get up there? Well, to get up there, we really want to focus on proper, healthy structures, including both rallies and proper pullbacks, right? Because like if you guys take a look at the last time Bitcoin broke out of a very long-term kind of sideways downtrending consolidation, that we had last year, where for many months it was just downtrending. Eventually we had a break of structure. As you can see, previous highs right here were broken. We had a proper retracement into the overall, from this move down all the way to this high. We had a proper retracement that got filled, and then that allowed the price to have that healthy higher low to then continue to go much higher. And that's something that I want to see here as well, where we see multiple months of sideways and downtrending sort of consolidation, where we see deep value of Bitcoin. And right now with this move higher, we've broken many previous swing highs. We are very close to all-time highs as well, but we broke all of these swing highs very clearly. And now it's very important to understand that we are overextended in the short term, and we can easily come down. I'm going to move this up a little bit because the price did go up a little bit right here. It can easily come down to previous support and also try to fill in previous imbalance, which aligns with the previous supports that we're seeing right here. So with that being said, how likely is it that we can come down here now or later, and how probable is it at the same time? Well, understanding that Bitcoin, even during highly like times of high, volume, where positive volume just keeps getting thrown to the asset and pushing the price much higher, like here where it came up, broke previous swing highs, and then we had a retracement. It went much higher before this price right here at 69.6K. Basically, it failed to break over the previous significant swing high right here at 70K. So it got close to it, couldn't break it, instead had a proper retracement. And it's going to be a little hard to show you guys with all this information that I have on here. But if we go ahead and make a little retracement, and we'll change the color to make it easier to look at. This area right here, as you can see, the price came down, filled in the retracement. it reached it. It doesn't have to fill it completely, but it did reach it and broke close to the 0.5 retracement before it went ahead and pushed higher, breaking over the previous swing high, and then making its way higher. Where right here we have the previous all-time high for this structure right here, and that's going to be presented by that orange line or yellow line. As you can see, it reached it, failed to break it, had another retracement before it went much higher, and that retracement was actually from that moment right there where it almost broke the all-time high for that time. It came down, had another proper retracement before going much higher. So it's very realistic to know. And during this time right here, you guys gotta remember too, the characteristics were very negative inflation related news, bringing the price down. During this time, we still had, when the price started breaking higher, started making new all-time highs, we had the same environment. There was still negative news. The Federal Reserve not knowing exactly what it wants to do. It cut rates, and then it said like, hey, we're looking to cut rates. We don't know how quickly we're going to be doing it. It all depends on inflation. So there was negative news, but there was also the hope of progression, and that still led the price to go up higher with proper corrections. So even though right now we're still in sort of a tariff fear and inflation fear with interest rate fear environment, we have the hope of progression being made very soon, just like in that previous structure I showed you. So if we're basing the characteristics of these two setups, they're very, very similar. And at the same time, we also have price extension higher, breaking past previous resistances, and we're getting close to all-time high. So right now, what we need to keep an eye on is that we have a pretty important, if I can show you guys, it's right here. We have a very important resistance line to keep an eye on that we're very close to as well. So the way I'm approaching this, and the way I just recommend, just on my own personal opinion, how other traders should be approaching this as well, is what we should be doing now is taking advantage of this short-term microstructure uptrend. So as you can see, the price is still uptrending, making higher lows and higher highs. It's still healthy. We don't have bearish confirmation of the price coming down to try to fill in this retracement before it can go much higher, which means we want to try to take advantage of this as much as possible in a realistic, or not just realistic, but a responsible manner, which would be taking small long positions as we continue to hold the uptrend and try to reach this next important resistance line. Just like in the previous structure, we can easily reach this area, find retracement before going to all-time high. Actually, all-time high, I'm going to make that green so we know that's all-time high, and then this is an important resistance before all-time high. So this is important resistance and all-time high. These both can act as short-term resistances to take advantage of any fluctuations before we go much higher. At the same time, we need to understand, as we're taking these long positions, we need to keep in mind the reason it's important to have small positions is because we know that Bitcoin likes to eventually flirt with the 120 moving average and the blue line as much as possible. It tends to do this a lot. And we're very far away from the 120 moving average. It's down to 100K, 101K, or sorry, 100,160K at the moment, basically. So, or $60. Oh, I can't even think. So basically what I'm trying to express is that we can easily come down or reach the 120 once again to try to lower that RSI before going up and testing this resistance right here. At the same time, it's very important that this move down is also very significant, especially if you guys are trading with any kind of leverage. Coming down even close to that 120 moving average is 3%, which is very significant. So it's very important to understand that, like, hey, if we're trying to take advantage of these smaller uptrends, we need to understand, like, hey, can we hold support? It's very important to have an eye out on these support lines to maybe get out of the position early and have a very strong stop loss in case you miss out on it on the previous swing low, which is right here at 102,300. In any moment, if we break under 102,300, it's very likely that we can go ahead and try to reach that 120 moving average. And as history and Bitcoin characteristics shows us, the 120 moving average usually gets broken and it swings over before coming back. Same thing if we're on the bearish side, it swings over it one way, the opposite way, before it continues into the whatever direction it's going. So what I'm doing right now, and what I recommend a lot of you do as well, is take small, responsible, long positions with tight stop losses, 102K 300, depending on your risk tolerance, and then also keeping an eye on the 120, because if we break back into this green area, it's very likely that we can try to fill in these imbalances right here. This one shows a lot better on the 4-hour chart, but it's very likely that we can break over the 120, swing over it, try to find support, and break higher. At that point, though, we have previous resistance that can act as support. If we come down over or underneath the 120 moving average, we need to keep an eye on this support line right here. So if it does come down and you guys want to try to take advantage of longs at these levels, understand that, like, hey, if we do start seeing momentum to the upside, the price bouncing off of this support line right here, then we can go ahead and start moving up higher once again. But at that point, it's very important to use this level right here as a stop loss, because if we break below this, we're easily coming down very likely into this red area to finally have that proper retracement we've been waiting so long for. This retracement area has been pending for a very long time, and it will eventually get filled, most likely than not, because at that point, that's why it's so important to have stop losses in play. So I wouldn't doubt the price, try to hold an uptrend a little bit more, try to reach the resistance right here. So this is the next area to look at. I wouldn't be overly optimistic, or at least overly hyped the moment we hit this level, because we need to see if it's gonna hold or not. Regardless of that, even if we break over a little bit and try to reach all-time highs, we got to remember we're far away from the 120 moving average. We haven't had a proper retracement just yet, and we have a lot of imbalances that can be filled, including previous imbalances down here that have not been filled. Especially this one right here is very significant. It overlaps perfectly with the 0.5 retracement at $89,689 at the moment. So we have a lot more reasons for the price to want to balance itself out before going much higher. But at the same time, we can't say it's going to happen just yet, because we don't have, we're still above this support line, we're still above the 120, and we're still above this lower boundary support line as well. So we can't confirm bearish confirmation until we start breaking these and then finally break below the 120 moving average. So until then, it's not a problem at all to take small long positions to try to capture as much upside as you can as we continue to reach closer to our all-time high, while at the same time having a tight stop loss or even a trailing stop loss in case the price does come down quickly, to come back down here as well. So yeah, hopefully this video made sense, guys. I am just trying to express the significance of this overextended price and how likely it is to come down and retrace before we go much higher. But I think I showed you guys this already, but I believe it's going to go much higher. But in order for that to happen, we want to see the price, balance itself out and be much more healthy. So until that happens, until we get that confirmation that we are getting closer to the retracement and approaching the retracement, we can still very realistically take advantage of any more slight upside, even though it's the window for upside is shrinking so much. I'm not super hyped on the price going higher. I'm taking small long positions with a tight stop loss. For me, 102,300. Any price below that, I do believe it can significantly fall a bit more and even go below 100K very easily. So it's a very important area to keep an eye on right here. But at the same time, to me, that's not a significant drop. So I don't mind taking that small hit if it means being able to get out at 106K 400. So yeah, that's how I'm approaching it. And at the same time, in the back of my head, I know, like, hey, I don't want to hold on to any longs for too long. And especially if you don't have a stop loss, because this area will eventually be filled very, very soon. And I'll keep following the price higher. If it wants to go up here, I'll follow it. If not, we'll just keep it there and then continue to observe the price and positions yourself responsibly to profit as much as we can, keep as much in our portfolio as possible, so then we can take advantage of these much lower prices to buy before Bitcoin finally goes up and makes a new all-time high. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.